So, we have today with us these amazing 4 people, José, Chiara, Debora, and Alexis. Debora is our mentee from last cohort, and the other 3 panelists are mentors from our last cohort, and 2 of them are also mentors this cohort. But of course, we wanted to do the panel session before you get matched, because otherwise maybe those 2 will be way too in demand. So maybe some of you are gonna get Chiara or José, we'll see. But we are here to talk about the mentorship program, and we want to hear some of your experiences from the previous cohort or other, coaching that you've done or mentoring before. And we want to learn if you have tips and tricks for us. I have plenty of cards here, so we're gonna get to it. So firstly, I'd like to ask Alexis about her mentorship journey. And I want to know from you, what actually motivated you to be part of our mentorship program?
Sure.
It works.
Okay. I joined the LTUX mentorship myself as a mentee during COVID. I don't know how long that is ago.
We all don't know anymore.
And I had a mentor then that was, in my opinion, really changed my career. He was so open and so nice and so vulnerable. I remember at a certain point I had an interview and he dropped everything, emergency sessions, calls after, sort of checked in on me, and he reminded me to celebrate. So that's, for me, it's such a defining moment. And I really want to give it back. I want to give that to other people. So that's my bar. It's quite high. That is mine.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm curious about it.
Oh, yeah, what about you, Chiara? What was your motivation?
Yeah, it's really similar, to be honest. But for me, was they were managers. So both of them, that they changed my career. And the first one was a manager that actually brought me up from a very low point in my career. And so it made me believe again in what I was doing and love the job again. And the second one, she was a recent manager that she left to go back to study. So she was really inspirational for me in many ways, more on a human level than actually work. So I knew they were there just to help me build my confidence and build the person and the designer that I am. And so I wanted to give that back to people. And that's the main reason I'm doing this. More than hard skills, I really believe in soft skills. And so that's why I usually do when I do mentorship.
Are you more into coaching than in that case?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's why you can say yes, definitely. I also mentored a girl that was a software engineer, so completely different background. And that was definitely coaching more than actually, of course, I don't have, I have some coding background, but not in the back end, so it's like, definitely was more coaching, but yeah, I feel like soft skills are definitely more important for me in my career.
And José, how about you? What motivated you to be a mentor in this program?
Well, in this program particularly, because when I moved to Amsterdam, I was working remotely and I was doing a lot of meetups, and I was surprised that this was so open and so welcoming. I found really good people in the meetups and pretty good topics, but in general, mentoring for me was more about breaking that barrier that sometimes we have with our managers, that we see them as judges more than somebody that helps you with your career, because they have the power of giving you a raise or an evaluation, and we don't often have the time to really be open and honest about, I'm struggling with this, I want to get better at that. So offering that to people was important.
And of course, our mentee perspective. What motivated you to be part of this program?
Well, now after hearing the good vibe that they are so volunteering, I'm like, yes, this is good. So what motivated me to join is I really believe that we can all learn from each other, right? And I think everyone everyone can teach you and you can find support from anyone. And in my case, I really feel like I was missing to have someone that could help me more specifically through design and how to apply it in my early career. So for me, yeah, that was the motivation. I wanted to feel again like confident within myself, and I think that's also what the program really helped me to find out, okay, I have the potential to learn all these things and then have a space where I could ask things that maybe it's a bit dark, like without judgment, that you really know it's open space, that they are volunteering to help you, that it's really an opportunity that you have to really be open and talk with someone.
Yeah. And you did UX research as mentorship, right?
Yeah. So
with Ali. Shout out to Ali.
Yay. So yeah, I did. I'm working currently as more UX UI design, but I think, and that's something I was not yet clear what I want. I'm still discovering, and maybe a lot of you are still, if you're in your early years, I think all of us at some point wants to try new things, and I really wanted to have more input from our research side, so also that's why I choose Ali. I vibe a lot also with the way we were, so I felt the connection of the meetup.
That's awesome. By the way, I did forget that if you have any questions, we have some time at the end, so note them down. And of course, we know that mentorship also comes with some challenges. That's inevitable, like challenges in anything you do. But can you share one of the biggest challenges you faced? Alexis, maybe you can pick it. Of course, yeah. We are going to talk a lot with all of us.
One of the challenges that I think is quite universal when you do a mentorship program is setting expectations and setting at the right level. And especially now that this program is 3 months, and you meet once every 2 weeks, realistically, you can count with your fingers how many times that is. And it's important to be very clear with what you expect your mentor to be able to do for you, and it's equally important for the mentor to set the expectation back, I think. So that's just one of the biggest challenges that I continue to have, because you always want to do more, you want to help more, but at the same time, it's not possible to promise the world. It's also setting people up for failures, and that's not fair. So that's what I think.
Awesome. I bet we all relate, but any other challenges that you faced?
I think might be a similar challenge to what we have at work, so kind of admitting that we don't know something. Even as a mentor, I think it's fine. It's perfectly fine, and it's better to say, I don't know, I can come back later with some answer or something, some resources, and maybe find some links later, especially when you talk about art skill, right? So there might be things that you don't do daily, or things that you're not sure about, and so even if you're a mentor, I guess it's fine to say, I don't know, do not be scared. It's similar to work in the workplace, right? So, and I think it's something that you have to learn on the field, and I think it's something that also applies to mentorship.
Awesome.
I think in my case, if you are signing up as a mentor for the first time, this will happen to you as well for sure, is trying to have all the answers right off the bat. It's like feeling that because you are the mentor, you should know. And that is not always the case. And there is a moment where you flip and understand that your role is not to lift the weight for that person, is helping them find their own answers, is asking the right questions, is guiding them through the process. And I think that's why it's so powerful, this process, is because we are both learning. It's a process for both. And it's really interesting to see how that click happens. And the moment that it does, everything is great. If you have set the expectations right and you know that you're putting the time and the effort, then your role is completely different. It's just guiding them towards the right direction and not doing the work for them. That was a big challenge, especially at the beginning. Mm-hmm. And I think I've been lucky also to have great mentees that have done incredible effort to get further in the process.
And Debora, you mentioned that you had an amazing connection with We have technical difficulties. You mentioned that you had a great connection with Ali, and obviously the communication was very well for you. How did you establish this trust between you, and how did you manage to set clear expectations together?
Yeah, I think, and that's also, it's a challenge from, I think, any human, right, to try to embrace vulnerability and like, I'm here because I'm struggling, I don't know how to do the things, I'm asking for help. Sometimes it's really hard to really admit that, and also that you know that, exactly, I think you could understand that the other person might not have the answer, but he's willing to hear you and give you some thoughts. And I think indeed, you need to set expectations and be just clear, like, and not make, the mentor is not responsible of the outcome, neither yourself, but you are the one who have to decide what you want to go for and take that input and then, yeah, play around and see how it goes with the outcome, reflect about it, come back maybe on the next session. So I think that's
I think that builds up to what José also said, that this is a journey you take together. So also make sure you're very transparent with each other. If something is happening in your life, it's okay. Just share.
Yeah, and also understand how do you prefer to communicate, because of course they are volunteering to help you, but it's not like maybe they are willing to have a message of WhatsApp at I don't know which hour. So also try to see also what fits you. Maybe you also want to keep yourself as a mentee or a more distant relationship. So
sometimes feedback is also something that we struggle with as humans at work or outside of work. Did one of you ever had to think of a way how to be very constructive with your feedback? Were you struggling with that? José has something to say.
We see. But I think it's also that I had two cases. One is where the match wasn't right. It's simple as that. And acknowledging that together, saying like, I cannot help you, like we're just not, it's not working out.
Can you share a bit more about what made it a mismatch exactly?
I think that person had certain expectations that weren't super clear at the beginning. Trying to deal with a very complicated situation of positioning a department within a company in a certain way. It was very complicated, and not being able to share the details and the specifics of the company makes it even harder, so it was not easy to do. That's one case, and the other case was just simply, as you mentioned, you join this thing, you have a need, but you have to put in the time, and sometimes you don't put in the time. On either side, it can happen also for mentors. We have a life. You can have a busy time at work, and maybe you don't have the availability. So, being honest about that as well, and saying you need to move the session instead of coming unprepared. On either side, again, it's a show of respect, and that is something that you come to the session. If you ask the question, okay, how did it go? What happened in the last 2 weeks? And if the answer is I didn't do anything, then you just end the meeting.
Save the time.
Yeah, because that person is also, either side again, is putting their personal time for you. So if you didn't do the thing, just reschedule, right? Take a couple more days, come prepared, do the thing, and make the most of the time. As Alexis mentioned, it's 6 sessions, that's it. If one is not valuable, you're wasting a big opportunity.
I think it needs to be added for especially for the mentee, but also for the mentor. So I think that, yeah, every time that I meet a new mentee, I always ask the type of mentorship that they want to do, if they want to do more informal, more structured mentorship, so with objective, or if they prefer to just talk. Sometimes they just need someone that listens to them, and even talking out aloud of stuff that you have in your head sometimes just help having an external person to listen to you. So you really need to as a mentor, you need to be able to understand the type of communication that you need to establish with them, the type of communication that they prefer, and that also relates to feedback, right? So I think you can understand if the more, if they take feedback well or not. It might be a try, so you might have to try and see how it goes, because of course, so you might get it wrong the first time, but then you get it right the second time. I think, yes, you mentioned communication and honesty is definitely important, because this needs to be helpful. That's the main thing, because we're giving time, but you also giving time, and sometimes you have urgency, right, to do stuff right. And so if you feel that this is not helpful, say it and change, or change mentor, or change the style, or change things. And also the objectives, they're not final, they can change. It's like agile. If something anything can change, so you can change objectives. And even if you're not done by the end of the mentorship program, it's fine. They were objectives to work towards, and not things that they were final. So
yeah, exactly. Speaking of objectives and guidelines, sort of how you're going to plan this out, how to have a direction in the program. I personally use an evaluation criteria that I've developed for the design team that I that I manage. And I mentor them too. I use that as a starting point sometimes, especially when I work with mentees that are a little bit either transitioning from a different field, or they don't know where they stand at the moment. What other methods or similar methods do you have to create a baseline like that?
The evaluations are really good one, I think, because then you can also compare at the end of the mentorship if they improved in a certain way. But I think part of the reason why people come for mentorship is that they're in a place where they're not sure. Usually there's a lot of doubt. And I think that it's important to give that a bit of space and for them to talk through it. What I find has been very illuminating and helpful is like really listening to their life story. Because often that's where you can sort of piece together why they're struggling, what they're struggling with, or maybe they don't even realize it themselves until you repeat it. So that's maybe less evaluated, but I think that's helpful because I also understand putting out as people, and I think you can help someone better that way.
I have the mics now. Okay, cool. But I'm not the one evaluating.
No, but you can tell us how it went for you.
Yeah, so for us, we don't really set it was a journey, so that's what I think you need to understand, that it needs to adapt to your needs and also co-create it with the mentor. So just find out what you need, and maybe I was really overwhelmed when I came to the session. Everyone was looking super cool, super interesting. I was like, oh my god, I want to learn from everyone. I don't know if I want to do UX research, service design, I need more focus on the strategy, I need UI. I was like, okay. But I think you can talk with the mentor and also find out together what could be the goals you could work that are also tangible in a way that could be managed on the 6 weeks, because of the 6 sessions that you have. And the evaluation, I think it's up to you how you tackle. I think you can also discuss it even with them if you want to set something for yourself or not. In my case, we just keep it more informal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When I know that they want to do a structured one, I'm not that structured, so I'm not using evaluation. But I just use a mirror board with some objective brainstorming. So I let them write everything, and then together in a session we decide which one to focus, because of course time, and also because we usually choose the goal that I know that I can help with, right? So of course if it's something that I cannot help, it's not useful to discuss that. And then we have a tracker usually of the objective with some maybe steps, and sometimes having a tracker actually helps them motivate to do stuff. And of course, again, we need to understand that it's not life-threatening, so if you don't finish something, just be honest, be open. I'm not there to judge, but to help. But yeah, depends on the person if they're feeling more motivated or having a tracker and objective, or just talking about the objectives. But I think having at least a brainstorming session, it's definitely useful, even if you're doing the structured way or the informal way. Something to add?
Google Doc.
Google Doc.
Tracker.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Amazing. Great tip.
Now, the only thing important I think to say is that keep your goal realistic. Like, a lot of people join this because they want to switch jobs, find another opportunity. Like, sometimes it happens. That's just the market, the circumstances, profile. There are multiple things in there. So think about what you are getting better at. That position puts you in a better position to get that thing that you're looking for. But that's not the goal of the mentorship.
So I think if we can sort of sum up how we together with the mentee and mentor create a more or less structured goal is, first of all, get to know each other, explore how we can help each other, then create a space of focus for what we want to do together in the 6 sessions, and track the progress in perhaps a Google Doc or Notion or whatever works for all of you. Am I missing something? Of course, adapting the process constantly, very important.
Create a safe space.
Create a safe space for that, trust, communication, and I guess regular feedback.
Yeah.
Be open to each other.
Both ways. Yeah.
Both ways, indeed. Deborah, you wanted to say something?
No, that's exactly that. The feedback. No, I really think that you should provide also feedback for the mentor. Like, they are also learning on the process, and if it's not working for you, just let them know so you can find together another way to make it work, and probably will feel better the experience for both of you and more enjoyable, because usually when things are not working, there is some friction, some tension in between the both sides. Like, there is not much, but maybe it's because you never really understood how to go through.
Yes, we humans, we tend to be very conflict avoidant. But indeed, conflicts are not a bad thing. It's not actually like a fight that you get. You're just both feeling something and it has to be addressed. Let's just have a talk about it. Let's have a healthy relationship during the mentorship, at least. All right. So, speaking of healthy boundaries and feedback, what smooth, right? Smooth, very smooth. Great transition. What would be, best advice you can give new mentors? And in your case, Debora, a new mentee, what would your best advice be? Whoever wants to start, go. Think about it. New mentor. Fresh.
Are you going to join as a mentee next time?
That's great.
I can do it. I think if you're a mentor, when you go in, it is also maybe taking off the hat that you're there to help. I think is quite important. Sometimes maybe we go in and we have this thing where we think we're not better per se, but we're there to help this other person, and they're this helpless thing that needs guidance. But sometimes, and in most cases actually, they're just as capable as we are. They're just in a different life stage, or they're on a different path completely. They might even be at the same level, just a completely different trajectory. So I think recognizing that as a mentor is really important, because if you go in thinking that you are their savior, that always comes out. Like, people can feel that, and that's where the trust is, I think, a bit broken. So personally, I think that's quite important.
I mean, I really agree with what you're saying. Maybe just be open to listen, and as a new mentor, I mean, I'm a new mentor as well, so I started last year, so I don't feel myself as experienced as other mentors maybe. but yeah, just be grateful for the time that they're spending with you, and because in the end, again, we're both learning and growing, and so it's just a journey that you have to enjoy as well. And sometimes I'm still nervous, maybe because of the F that you were saying. I feel like you need to help them, but then when they start talking, you understand that you can treat them as your colleagues, to be honest. And I think that's a good way to show the other person when you do a mentorship, right? So your colleagues, they're the same level. Sometimes you have mentors, mentee that are the same level and just need to talk about something, right? So it's not, they don't need to be junior and you're senior. So yeah, maybe just be open to listen, because sometimes it's just what is needed. And yeah, that's it.
Listening, keep focus on asking the right questions and be open to learn from the mentee.
Okay, so mentees, be prepared. No, but I think it's your opportunity, so it's your chance to also be proactive and to bring things to the table and to understand, like also map out what do you think they can help you from. They already will talk to you, they will tell you I'm good at this or I can help you here. Probably if you propose, maybe they don't have the solution, but they could say maybe try this, or maybe I have a colleague, maybe I can ask. Of course, don't come with expectations that they are going to solve your life, because it's you the one who have to be the driver, I think, also in the sessions. So you also need to take the lead. It's a lead together. So also for the goals, for the task, I think that's my advice.
I guess also sometimes, just to build on some of your stories, what has also happened to me is, for example, mentoring someone who is older than me, or someone who's transitioning from a different field, had a lot of experience in that field, and now is starting from scratch. I think some of you here as well might be faced with this situation, and indeed, it's important to be open and for both of you to learn, because both of you have a great perspective to add to the narrative, so be open to it. I guess that is kind of an okay summary for that. We also said that basically this is a journey for growth for both the mentee and the mentor. How did you actually grow personally from your experience in the previous cohort or in other mentorship program that we had? Any unexpected learnings, for example? Things that you learned about yourself that you didn't know about yourselves before, something you discovered together?
At first, there was my manager that mentioned that I could try mentorship because I wasn't in doubt for my career. And she said, if you don't know if you want to stay as a individual contributor or a people manager, maybe mentorship is a good way to understand if talking with people and managing people is actually what you like. And so that's why I started mentorship. So I think that I found out that I really like that. So I hope that I found my path for my career growth, and I would like to become leader of other people, people manager. So that's something that I found out through mentorship. So I know it's more career, more than personal growth, but in the end it was something that I didn't know, I wasn't sure that helped.
Yeah, I think that there's been multiple learnings. I think one was, again, I think you pointed it out, a lot of the times your help is not your personal expertise in a specific domain. It's more giving reassurance or showing that there are multiple paths or highlighting that careers are not linear and you can chase that, no problem. It's a reversible decision, all these things. So providing confidence and yes, maybe sharing different experiences that you had in the past that inspire them to try things out is part of it, but it doesn't have to be directly connected to you specifically. So being open and knowing that you're not limited by your own steps and helping them explore multiple paths was definitely a learning. Before it was like, oh, you need to choose this person because that person worked on that thing. Not necessarily. Your guidance can be beyond the things that you have done in the past.
For me, I've sort of been quite surprised at how non-linear it is. So I've had some mentees where, honestly, I think in a couple of years they could manage me.
That's awesome.
And it sort of changed my relationship of how I see mentors myself. So they're not these people who are better or more senior or doing cooler things or working in cooler companies. They're just doing the thing that I want to learn from. And that's made me more open to seek out different types of mentors for different areas of my life. And it's helped me grow also in different ways, not just career-wise, but a lot of this like soft skills you were talking about. I think mentorship is a great way to learn that. Maybe we're having a conversation about shortcuts. Yeah, I think we should talk about that.
No, I was like, actually, we were talking about how at the end the people can really help you to, they already maybe have the experience, so at the end it could be like a shortcut. So we were saying like, it's like when you need to go to the supermarket, you're like, hey, where's the peanut butter? And they told you, it's there, but don't take that one, it doesn't taste great, go to the eco section, take that one, because it's better. It's sort of that they can really advise you on experiences that they might have gone through. That doesn't mean that, they just had it in their life. So it's just a way that you could take that learnings also with you and implement it on maybe also on a different area. But I think that's one of the key learnings, like from the relationship. I really like.
Awesome, thank you so much. These were great insights. And of course, I have to ask you this question now. What would you do differently the next time around when you're in the mentorship program?
Eat more pizza.
Eat more pizza. Well, definitely. I agree. By the way, can I just say, this time, this matching event is so much better. Thank you, José, for hosting. Thank you, Booking, for hosting.
I have to say thank you, Molly Stevens. She's the senior director of UX here, and she was the one that helped us make this happen. I posed the idea, she sponsored it, she made the catering happen and everything. So I think she was involved with the organization in the past, and she definitely remembered the names and everything. And she said like, yes, I want to support it.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Well, we also learn from our experiences as the organization team. So please provide also us with feedback about this event, the program. We would love to hear about it. We're constantly trying to improve, do better, and make it more awesome for all of us, and have fun, by the way. We don't stress in our team, we have fun. What was that? We can all go for a drink. Great idea. But indeed, so what would you change next time when you're either a mentor or mentee?
Maybe I also would try to do at least one in person.
Okay.
I was gonna say the same.
I mean, of course, I live in Rotterdam, and maybe sometimes it's not that easy because we live scattered around in the Netherlands. But maybe, I don't know, maybe the first one at least doing that in person to create a different connection. But of course, it's not mandatory, right? So I understand that everyone. It's just maybe something that I would try to set up at least for the first one.
Yeah, I have the same. Actually, since I meet Ali on the meetup, I haven't seen her in person until now, so it passed like 4 or 5 months, so that's fun. And also I think another thing that maybe that's just, I also said in last time of the event, is that when I went to the meetup, I met a lot of also mentees, which I think I can learn from, and I could like create a group, and we didn't have the chance to connect, and actually I met an friend of my university, and I never really WhatsApp back like, hey, how is going your mentorship? So that's something I would like to, like, if I was in the past, to change, because I think also as a group, you could motivate yourself to push your goals, right?
That's a great feedback for us as well. Thank you.
I'm inspired by your comment. Celebrate the wins. I think it's important that if you got that interview, if you got that job, if you think you're better in a thing, celebrate it. It's freaking amazing to feel that you've made progress. And maybe a thing that maybe is controversial, but connect with your mentors after the fact.
Yeah.
They are rooting for you, they're cheering for you. If you reach out 3 months later, 6 months later, I'm pretty sure it will be fine. They would love to hear from you, so don't be afraid of it.
And you will be a mentee next time, so tell us as well.
Yeah.
What do you expect to be perform differently?
It's José con mentita.
Yeah, definitely, that's true. I think what I wanted to do this time, because I have 2 mentees, so what I wanted to do actually was to have a group crit session or a group session and invite like colleagues, friends in the industry to come, and I could never make it happen, so if you can make that happen, I think
Ladies?
that would be
No, nothing. I'll keep a note out of this. You do the matching. It's important.
But I thought it was something that was a bit missing, because most of them have similar goals or similar like things they needed to learn and improve, right? And I think having it in a group setting, they also see how other mentees are progressing, you can inspire each other. So I think that's what I would like to try next time.
Well, we'll do our best. Let's connect afterwards. Okay. Well, that was an amazing panel. Thank you so much for all of these insights. I really applause. I hope that both mentors and mentees managed to hear some tricks and tips and some pitfalls and challenges that you maybe can expect. Now, off to our audience. Anyone has any questions? Was this a hesitant raise of hand? No? Okay. I cannot believe you don't have questions. Don't be shy. Ah!
There is.
Hi, this is Logan. My own question was doing goals, because I sometimes tend to have them very big and not realistic. Would be, can you maybe provide a realistic goal that you achieve together with your mentee? Because I also feel like 6 meetings is still some time.
Thank you.
Everyone's looking at you, José. Do you have any insight on that? Or,
For me, it was like, really basic. I mean, as a goal was like create the CV or the portfolio. It was tangible, objective, and of course we did reviews during, and then at the end she was satisfied with the process, and that was something more art skill that you can touch. On the soft skills side, I think it's more difficult to create a tangible one and also to measure the progress. So it might be a little bit difficult. I don't know if you have any example of that, but with another internal program in my company was more confidence building, and for example, she had a goal of joining a lunch of a meetup with other people, and she couldn't do it. At the end, she joined, and she was really happy. She shared with me that, right? So if something even small, or she joined, I don't know, a meetup or something like that. She actually started mentorship herself, so I really see that, so that the progress in the confidence building, but it's definitely more difficult to see a finish line, to set a finish line for those.
I did a coaching program, and it really opened my eyes the way they treated goals. And it was more about, what is your 10 look like? What is your ambition, like big ambition? And the next question was, if that's the 10, what 1 would be? And every week we will work to what is the next step. And that way we always felt that we were progressing towards the big goal. And you didn't have to set it short. It but it didn't feel frustrating either to not reach that 10. You knew that you were taking the steps towards the main goal that you were trying to achieve, but always keeping it, okay, what is the 1? What is 2? What is the action that you will take this week towards that goal? And it really completely changed my perspective on it, because again, she wasn't not giving me the answers. It was all the things that I was proposing to do. And I think that was what made it very powerful.
I think to add to that, what I usually say is that goals are your dreams with a deadline. See what I did there? But I think what really works is when you make those goals, indeed break them down, but also make them tangible and measurable for yourself. Then you really create a goal that you can achieve. And indeed, those big, audacious goals that you have can be a long-term thing. You just have those 6 sessions to work on those that you broke down. Other questions? Don't be shy. I bet you have. Oh, there's a question.
We're getting it.
Hello. I wanted to ask, one of you were mentioning the thing of prepare or reschedule, right? So some of those things of rules of thumb may be on the downside, I guess. So maybe one way of thinking of it would be, what was the worst session you had and why? Why was it the worst one? So that maybe we can learn from previous mistakes.
The answer was when Ali did not appear.
Oh no! No!
But we didn't do the 6 at the end, I think. We couldn't do the time. But that was also in Christmas, but yeah, it's fine.
Oh, this is a hard one.
I think for me as a mentee, not just from this program, but I try to look for coaches multiple times, because I think you can always learn from other people. And I think maybe it's not the worst, that's not what I wanted to say, but one of the most challenging is when you break down in front of that person, you start crying, and you cannot control your emotions, because it's just something that it's a struggle that you're going through, and maybe you don't know enough that person, and that's really challenging. But I think if you manage to go through, it's also one of the most rewarding sessions that you will have. So that could happen, and in that moment you should not judge yourself, because it just happens. We are humans. So, and these mentorships are places where, maybe something just appear and you were not expecting it.
Maybe the worst one, not in this program, because I think this program filters for it.
Yes! You're in good hands!
I had a mentor once that was very distracted. So every session that I joined, she was clearly working or doing something else. She would always be late, end the session earlier. Just, you can see they're very distracted, and of course the work was stressful. She really wanted to be there though, so she didn't close, and she didn't end it. And in the end, I had to be the one to say, I think we should just we'll revisit this another time. So that was the worst, but I think this program kind of gets around that, because if you don't have time, you wouldn't volunteer, right? And I think the team checks for it, so yeah.
Thank you.
So much compliments today. That's so nice to hear that we're doing a good job on pairing. Other questions? There's no way we answered everything. Oh, a hand. How much time do you need still, ladies? A few minutes? There's more. Oh, there's more. Okay. Okay. Let's do last question because apparently everything was clear.
I think you guys have done a great job explaining to us the pitfalls and stuff, but I'd love to hear from each of you at least 2 or 3 examples about what you actually really enjoyed from it and how it's actually improved your own personal experiences being a mentor or a mentee. And really just lean into like the actual things that made you smile on that day, and don't think big picture, just talk about the little nuances.
That's nice. Thank you.
Well, I will start as a mentee. For me, I think from most of the session I came out feeling really energized, like I can tackle this. I just need to work on it, but I will do it. Let's go, let's go. So I think that energy is something that, and also have the time to celebrate when you manage to do something, like send a sticker of a dog, like just on WhatsApp, like for like, hey, I wrote that page, or I don't know, or I managed to talk with the manager, or that tiny things are really important. And I think that's also like at the end is the human side, and then for sure, for me it was helping me to zoom out. So I think I was too much focused on my own struggles, my own problems, my just one perspective, that I was not able to see that there are so many colors, so many paths, so many opportunities. And I think through this program was one of the ways to also connect with more people and see like, okay, there is much more. So also like thinking, okay, there are a lot of opportunities, like let's see where I go.
For me, sometimes when I think we all have bad days at work, when you have imposter syndrome and you think that you know nothing about what you're doing, and you just say, what I'm doing here, I have no idea. And then you have someone that actually listens, a mentee that actually looks up. I know we said that we're not better, but at the same time, they look up to you, right? They kind of reach out to you for help. And in the end, you see the progress, and even that session went really well, and that makes me think, okay, so maybe I'm not that bad. So maybe tomorrow is going to be better, and so the session sometimes really help also the mood and feeling a little bit more confident in the things that I'm doing.
I think that feeling of when you got done through this for a while, you know that there are really challenging times, or there are downturns in the industry, where people get fired, these kind of things, and stuff. So feeling that you are helping probably your former self, even in face of a mentee, to overcome those moments where you are really struggling and you are missing that guidance and you are missing that help. So having that reward that you are giving back is incredible, especially when you connect with the person afterwards and you see them, they could be my manager now, right? That's super cool. So that's it. I think it's if you can make it a bit better for somebody, knowing that the things are tough, that's already rewarding itself.
I guess I have 2. As a mentee, I'm going to shout out my first mentor, Roman. After I got an offer for the job that I was interviewing for, I just wrote him a text and said, thank you so much. And then he immediately called me, like video called me. And this is the first time. I don't like picking up the phone. And it was buzzing. And he congratulated me, and he was really genuine, he was really excited. And he instilled in me this habit that I still do today. So every time I get a big milestone, I get a celebratory drink, and I get a little post-it, and I write the date, and I write the thing. And I take a photo of it. And I have a little album of all these things. So that's, for me, a really nice habit that really came from that relationship. And then as a mentor, I obviously a lot of wins for the mentees that they do themselves, but one was connecting more than a year after. She already got a job, she was already working, and then she contacted me for a work problem, and we worked on it together. And I remember thinking, everything that we talked about a year before, she's already smashed, not a problem anymore. Now we're working at the same level, and that was really cool. Yeah, that was great. Okay.
That's awesome. I think also building genuine relationships between each other is a massive win. So if you manage to do that with your mentor or mentee, that's a massive win. And of course, we try to do that here in our community all the time. Please come more often. We are very supportive to each other. And yeah, we'd like to build the relationships. Just professionally, personally. I really like sort of, let's hear from each other in a year. That's super cool. Okay, everybody. Joanna has a question. By the way, Joanna, speaking of dog stickers, Joanna has a famous doggo. Follow it on Instagram. She will tell you what the name is. And she also has stickers of it. So, share.
Yeah, just a quick question. I don't know how many of you manage teams, but do you think being a mentor makes you a better manager?
Who is a manager? José is a manager? I'm also a manager. Do you want to answer first? Okay. I think what really, it does make you a better manager per definition. And one of the things that is very important is that while you're mentoring someone, especially I can speak from the eye about this, I find interesting ways to describe things and create analogies of stuff that people understand. But that's just a way for me to try to express my knowledge in an understandable way. Sometimes that's part of your growth in the sense that you learn a lot, and at one point you know everything, but you don't know how to translate that to others. And being a mentor really helps, so you can think about, okay, how do I bring this information in a way that another person would understand? How can I sort of translate my brain into other language? So definitely from that perspective, mentorship is really, really valuable. And just learning about yourself and how you can communicate, not necessarily your knowledge, but also listening actively to others is a part of the process. You become better at it. You find out that there's other things that people deal with, and it's just not just work and career. And sometimes you get mental blockers from those things, and you have to help people with those. And that happens so much in the workspace as well. What I tell my team all the time is I don't want you to be stressed, because you don't produce good designs when you're stressed. That's a myth, everybody. If you're stressing and overwhelmed, you're not at your best. You think maybe that you're at your best, but it's not really true. You gotta be as relaxed as possible. So, how do we get you relaxed? It's tough, but
Dog stickers.
yeah, dog stickers, exactly.
It gives you perspective. It's one part is exactly what you mentioned. Is it helps you reflect on past experiences and helps you make them understandable, which brings them back to you, and maybe it refreshes something that you need to apply in your day-to-day, so it's already helping. But also makes you think about the personal aspect. Sometimes we are in the day-to-day with our teams, we only see the work, and we forget about what could be impacting the work, what's happening in that person's life. Are you being too judgmental? Are you just looking at the pixels and not the human being? So that is always something that continues brings me back to that point is, okay, this is not going well. Okay? Is the person okay? And then if you've done that check, then you focus on the work.